What's going on, everybody? I'm Sam from Flywheel. I'm the producer here. And today I want to talk about how I'm making 70% on my stable coins with just a little bit of leverage. I'm doing this with Metronome, a protocol that's built on top of Vesper, and Metronome enables what's called smart farming. So what is smart farming? Smart farming is a yield looping engine that leverages the power of Metronome's synthetic assets and Vesper. It's a big upgrade for those who want to increase your yield and also save gas on all the transaction fees. Smart farming allows you to automate looping of yields across a ton of different crypto assets, Frax included, which is what we cover here at Flywheel, all in a single transaction. So what's looping yield? Okay, so yield farming is a great way to go out and earn some extra yield on the assets that you have. Typically, you do this with any number of tokens. Could be Frax, could be ETH, stake FrxETH. And what you do is you take your assets and you go to some DeFi protocol and you deposit them in, either as just the single asset itself for single farming, or you pair them together into a liquidity pool, usually on a DEX, and then you stake it. And in return, you get back some yield. But once you open this position, typically with yield farming, there's no way to leverage it. You're just kind of stuck earning that base rate. So even if you find a really good opportunity and you think, hey, if I had a little bit of debt based on this, I could increase my yields by 2 or 3 or 4x. Well, you just weren't able to do it until Metronome came along. And so what is Metronome? Metronome creates synthetic assets. Right now they have 3 types of assets: Bitcoin, ETH, and stablecoins. Now you mint these synthetic assets by first depositing a bit of collateral, and then you can borrow them against it. You're able to mint them out. Once you mint them out, you then can sell them and then buy whatever asset you want and then loop up. So you deposit a collateral asset, you then borrow another asset and sell it to buy more of your original collateral asset. And that's where you get the leverage from. The main problem with looping, though, is that it's really expensive, especially on Ethereum, where gas prices for a single transaction to deposit and stake might cost upwards of $100, $200, $300. Who knows? Could be even $500 if gas prices are high enough. And so implementing these looping strategies has really only been for big whales where, a $200 or $300 transaction is just not that much. If you're sitting on millions of dollars, what's a couple $100s for a transaction if you're going to make 20 to 30% yield? Done safely, looping with a moderate amount of leverage can produce extra returns for only a little bit extra risk. And that's why we really like it here at Flywheel. So how does smart farming work? Well, smart farming takes this expensive and complex looping strategy and makes it really simple. And you only have to fire off a deposit transaction and a withdrawal transaction. What's great about this is that on Metronome, all you have to do is select the type of asset that you want, and the protocol does all the rest. So Metronome uses Vesper, which is an automated yield generation platform, to go out and get exposure to whatever asset you deposit. Frax is one of the many assets that's supported by Vesper. And if you go to the Vesper page, you can actually see what their current strategy is. So I'm looking at it right now, and Vesper has 35% of their fund strategy in FrxLin, collecting a pretty good yield. Additionally, they also have some in Convex in 2 pools, the Dole Frax base pool, and then also the EUSD Frax base pool as well too, that's created by Reserve. So what's cool about smart farming is all you have to do is come to their site, choose the asset that you want to deposit, and then choose the amount of leverage. So we've been running a campaign on our newsletter for the past 6 weeks called Metronome to the Dome, where we deposited Frax into Metronome, and we've been watching the yields. And it's been surprising. At first, it started off around 30%, and now it's upwards of 60% yield that we're making right now. And we don't even have to do anything. We just watch it grow on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. So with a smart farming position, you're essentially over-collateralizing a debt position and then borrowing synthetics against it. The over-collateralization is really crucial for maintaining the stability and health of the overall position and the protocol as well too. So nobody gets left with bad debt. So when you come and use smart farming, every single collateral is going to have a different amount of leverage that you can take against it. So Metronome looks at 5 variables when determining their risk assessment for each asset. The market cap, open market liquidity, a Lindy score, peg volatility, and rehypothecation. So each asset is scored from 0 to 3 on each variable, with higher scores indicating a higher risk. As the risk score increases, the collateral ratio decreases. With a max collateral ratio of 83%, this means that you can get up to 4.75x leverage on Frax. However, at max leverage, liquidations will take place when the price of Frax is lower than approximately 99 cents, which is just a penny off the peg price. That's pretty risky. So for our Metronome to the Dome series, we used a less risky liquidation point, setting our liquidation level at 95 cents. While the price of Frax has gone down below that before, it was a one-time event that was connected with the USDC depeg during the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. And so there is some risk. Obviously, the lower that you have your leverage, the less your returns are going to be, the lower your liquidation point is going to be. For most cases, stable coins, especially if they are thought to hold the peg, like 90 to 95% is risky, but it's still something which potentially shouldn't only happen in like a black swan event, like that Silicon Valley Bank collapse. The amount of assets that you want to deposit and choose the amount of leverage. You can execute this transaction. On Ethereum, it's probably going to be an expensive transaction. We paid about almost $500 for ours, but we don't ever have to touch it again. And that's the great part about it. So if you are depositing, 10, 20, 30,000 into this contract, the yields that you'll earn from what Metronome is providing will catch up and outstrip any sort of transaction costs that you'll have. So what are the risks? There are several, right? So the main risk is liquidation risk. So liquidation in Metronome Synths occurs when the value of your collateral multiplied by the collateral factor falls below the value of the outstanding synthetic mintage. And this can result in your position being partially or entirely closed as per the rules set in the Metronome protocol. So you can mitigate this risk by improving your loan's health factor by depositing more collateral, redeeming some of the outstanding deposit collateral, or just letting the yield build up. So you can find your health factor, which is the measure of safety of the position, on the Metronome Synth dashboard on their website. So our Metronome to the Dome position has a health factor of 1.06, and as yield continues to accrue to this position, it should increase over time. Another significant risk is the occurrence of any black swan events, which would cause rapid and extreme price changes in either a synth's underlying asset or a collateral asset. So such events can lead to situations where you might be unable to adjust your position quickly enough to avoid liquidation, like when USDC depegged during the Silicon Valley Bank collapse, leading to Frax hitting a price of 92 cents. What a day. Additionally, Metronome Synth relies on Chainlink for its Oracle services, which monitor the price of underlying assets for synthetics and collaterals. So while Chainlink is a leading provider in this domain, Oracle disruptions are still a potential risk. These disruptions can lead to failed transactions, asset pairs falling out of their intended peg, and incorrect price information that could result in unwarranted liquidations. Although Metronome employs measures to minimize such risks, the inherent nature of relying on external oracles like Chainlink means that these risks cannot be completely eliminated ever. And lastly, because it's a smart contract debt system, there could be bugs in the contract that we don't know about that somebody finds later on. So there are risks wherever you go. And then trading risks, liquidation risks, they're all there. So you should just be aware before you use any of these platforms, because there is the possibility to lose money. And if you don't understand it, you might not get it when you're liquidated. So don't be that person. We've written a great article on Flywheel DeFi on how to access Metronome Smart Farming that you can go and check out. And you can follow our channel for more information and educational videos like this that get delivered to you on a weekly basis. So sign up now, go to our website, subscribe. I'm Sam from Flywheel, and we'll see you next time.